Hey everyone, it is the Charming Giraffe, and today we are mixing some new paints that I got, and I got these from Jerry's Artarama. I'll put the links in the description below. I've been looking at these paints online for a while. I needed to get the extra money in my cart to get the free shipping, so I thought I'd go ahead and pick them up. And we've got lemon yellow, I don't know how to say this word, cerulean blue. You'll see it in the description. If anyone knows how to say it, you can leave that in the comments. Azo Red Deep. So we are mixing these with Floetrol and water, and the water is just tap water. I just got it out of the faucet. And then Floetrol, and we're going to kind of mix these at the same time. So I'm going to start with a cup of Floetrol. There was some dust in that. This is probably going to happen often throughout this video. And I strained my Floetrol. These are 16-ounce cups, and I have 16-ounce bottles. So that's way too much for one. And you can see why. This is why straining your Floetrol is important. All of that would end up in your paint. This is why I do it. You don't have to. You can pick the chunks out, or the chunks can add depth to your paintings, or you might not have as bad of a batch as this appears to be. I want about about 70% Floetrol in here. So just about 3/4 of the way full. And I just eyeball it. I've done experiments. There's a playlist, I'll link that in the description below as well, on how I mix my paint, and in there there's I think 4 or 5 different videos on different experiments with the Floetrol ratio. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. These are not even. This one has a little bit too much, so we're going to pour it in here. Should try to even it out a little bit. And I don't need exactly 16 ounces because my bottles are exactly 16 ounces. So we don't want to risk overflow. These aren't opened yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real fast. Okay, I've got them all open, but I've decided I want some more Floetrol in this cup. Normally I don't do it like this. I just pour out a bunch of Floetrol at once and then mix them individually. But I thought this might help speed up the process. I like that level. I'm going to give this one just a little bit more too. You can always add more as you go, but to whatever consistency or amount of paint that you like, or Floetrol. Well, I guess overall paint mix, I guess is the word I'm looking for there. Real quick, just to kind of show you this, and I'll show it to you again when we do the paint, is I just put this on a baby wipe. You can just use a paper towel too. Hopefully I am in frame. Hopefully everything's in frame, we'll find out. And then I just take another baby wipe on top to get the goop out that's like in there, but then to just like clear the holes, I just kind of smush it down and wipe, and that totally helped. I've got color on it, trying to not get color on the Floetrol one and vice versa, but that'll either pick it up from the top or push it through to the bottom. So that's how that works out. Alright, so we've got our 3 cups here. Now we will pour our paint in. Just go in some sort of order here. There we go. Looks good. Fill it almost up to that first lip there. Ooh. And I've never mixed this paint before, so who knows what's going to happen here. This might be super thick, and we might end up with way more paint than we need. We'll find out. Doesn't feel like a lot comparatively, so do that. Set these out of the way. And before you add the water, I like to stir, just so you know how much, if any, water you need. I'm sure we're going to need water in these, just because that paint's so thick. If you're mixing thinner paints, then you may not need water at all. And potentially if you use enough Floetrol, but for paints as thick as these, you probably definitely need water. This will take a minute to stir all of these up, so I will speed you up through this process. Alright, so we've got them all mixed up pretty well, I think. You probably saw me do this a lot. I really like the way this paint incorporated in with the Floetrol. Sometimes, some of the paints that I've used in the past, they kind of get stringy is the best word that I can use to describe it. Like, they don't really want to blend together at all. It's kind of like it repels it almost. Like it doesn't want to, so you have to like continually stir to try to get it blended better. I try to avoid those paints, but sometimes you just need those colors. Or you have that at your house and you don't want to go buy new. So I was really impressed with it. It is definitely thick, but it definitely blended very well, so I'm very impressed. So I just added a little bit of water here. Get it incorporated. It'll take a second because I'll go through and stir them. I just don't want it sitting on top of the paint for too long. I don't think it'll really hurt it, but I want to get that process started with incorporating that water. I definitely like the colors. I think I did good picking these colors out. If you've watched the channel, you'll know that I love the rainbow. I actually like a lot of things, but the rainbow is one of my favorites. So I'll get these blended in here, and then we will strain it and put it into the bottles. All right, so I've got the water fully blended here. So now we're going to strain them. You can strain them directly into the bottles, but because we got so much, and my bottles have this little bitty tiny hole here, I want to strain them into a cup just to make sure I don't waste a whole bunch by not getting it into the bottle. I've just got these 2 strainers. I literally was just cleaning a little bit, trying to organize, and I found them. I knew I'd bought a whole bunch, but I couldn't locate them. Now this shouldn't have as many chunks unless I just didn't mix the paint in very well. So the goal here is to not actually have any chunks when you strain it, because in theory you've mixed it so well that your paint isn't chunky anymore, because we already got all the Floetrol chunks out when we filtered that, when we strained that at the beginning. So, but if you didn't mix your paints in well, then that can make chunks in your paintings when you pour it. Again, not necessarily a bad thing if that's what you're going for. But if you don't want that, then this is a way to try to combat that problem. Now, I think I may have already posted the video. Don't know at this time of airing this. But you can't get every single drop out. So I'll show you what we'll do with that. I'm just going to set those sticks there for now. I'll move over here to the blue one, because I'll need to clean that one out before we do the yellow. In fact, you know what? I should have done the yellow first. So we're going to go ahead and do that next, actually. You want them go too fast so that your strainer can't keep up, but I'm a little impatient sometimes. And then always scrape. I don't know if I said that before. Also, you probably saw it when I was mixing. Scrape the bottoms and the sides when you're mixing it to fully blend in the paint with the Floetrol. I think I tried to show that, even though it was sped up. This will just help get as much paint out of the cup and into the bottle. Into the next cup. And then we'll do it again when we put it into the bottle. We'll just set those there. And then learn this from Mixed Media Girl as well. So this will strain into that one, and we'll do the same with the blue and the same with these other cups that we're pouring them into right now. And then it'll have a leftover paint cup, and you're not wasting that paint that would otherwise just dry in the cup. And oh, I'm probably not in frame, so let me move this so I can get in frame here and show you what I'm doing. So I have one baby wipe down, I have the messy strainer, and I've got another baby wipe, and we're just pushing it through the holes. Sometimes it'll stain the mesh, the paint will, so as long as you're not getting any more color out like that, then you're going to be okay. You may need to do more than one. 1 second. Additionally, it'll seep through, so you'll have to make sure you're not, because then you can actually just transfer it right back into the mesh. So you just want to keep this going until you get it as clean as you desire. You can also wash it with like soap and water, but this works pretty well. And as long as it's not in the holes, even though it's stained on the mesh, it won't impact your future strains. Now everything's all crumpled. There we go. And let's do the blue. Also, sometimes what I'll do is I'll like put something here. This is too high. Oh, maybe I can get it to work to hold that so I can pour and scrape at the same time. Or if you have a friend that can help you. Paint mixing with a friend is always better because you have someone to talk to, share the tasks, and it gets done twice as fast. This seems a little thick still. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Once I start using it out of the bottles, you can always add more water to the bottles, and you don't have to worry about chunks because water's not chunky. If you were going to add more Floetrol or something to the bottle, I'd recommend going through this process again, if that's something you're concerned with. If it's not, then don't worry about it. Alright. Then we'll play this game again. You can also just do this as well if that works. I just find sometimes you'll push it on one side and it'll go through, and then you'll push it back on the other side and it'll go back through. So that's why I like to do this technique. Not bad though. The key really is just to get all the paint out of the holes. Because if you still have paint in the holes like this, it'll dry like that and it will become useless, which I have done before. So learn from my mistakes so that you don't have useless strainers sitting around your studio. And this will probably definitely stain with this red. This red seems to be pretty, I don't know what. Lots of dye, which is good when you're an artist. You need the color. But it won't hurt it as long as the holes are clear. So yeah. All right, last step is just to put them into the bottles. And I still have my blue cup over here, so don't worry. They'll all get turned upside down on each other to drain into a leftover paint cup. Okay, I think I'm in frame. This can be tricky if you have these bottles with these little holes. They do make bottles with larger openings, which I have gotten some. I was actually surprised I found these. I was like, I went to do the video. I was like, oh no, do I have bottles? And I did. I was really impressed that I actually still had some hidden on the bookshelf. Maybe these bottles are bigger than 16 ounces. Or maybe these cups aren't quite 16 ounces. Maybe these are 14 ounce cups. I thought I had 16 ounce cups and 16 ounce. But I also didn't fill them up all the way, so maybe that's why it's not as much as I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be like pushing the top here. But I'm not. And then just scrape as much out as you can. Again, if you don't get all of it, not a big deal if you save it by turning them upside down on each other. And then because this isn't my normal paint that I use, like I don't really mark any of my bottles because I know what's in them, even though I've got 40 bottles over there. Maybe not quite that many, but because I won't remember that that's what this is because it just looks blue, I have a Sharpie and I'll put on here like Soho and I'll know it's blue and I'll have the other bottle, or you can put the whole thing on there, cerulean blue and deep red or whatever. That's just what I do. The other thing, I think you may have saw me do it, is try to keep this area free of paint. Obviously, once you start pouring, it's a lot harder unless you open it and clean it every single time. But it'll dry like that, and that if you pour it in, like it'll dry. You go to use it the next time, you'll pour it into your dirty cup or onto your painting, and sometimes the chunks from that will get into your painting, and that's what you find when your piece is done. That's not smooth. Even though you've strained your Floetrol, you strained your paint, done everything you possibly can do, that's the culprit. Is if that is not clean, or even if it just dries on the side of the bottle. Like, you know, these are almost full. I'll use them the first time, and some will obviously be used. And then where it's like along the side of the bottle will dry. And that can cause chunks when it comes out in the next pour. I don't worry too much about it, except for when I've had the same cup for a really long time. Then I'll clean those out. And just how I do that is when I'm done, like all the paint is used out of it, or as much as I can get out of it, I just put water in it and shake it. And that surprisingly will do a lot. And then I just pour that out. I typically just pour it out into like an old Floetrol bottle. I try not to put any paint down the drain. We're going to call that good. Once again, I'm going to use the same blue one, but try not to get blue. Clean this to the best of my ability or desire. And I'll need a lid. Where did I put that marker? I'm going to go ahead and mark the other bottle just because I already got the pen out. And while we're at it, I'm going to turn this yellow cup onto this blue cup. And also, let me know in the comments below if you have actually tried this paint before and what your experiences were with it, with pouring or with any type of painting techniques. I have not used it. I don't know what to expect. So let me know. And these are the only 3 colors I bought, so I don't have any black or white. So if I were to use those colors, they would be a different brand. The main brand I have right now is Artist Loft Floetrol for those colors. I think I've got some Amsterdam black, but I haven't mixed it yet. Oh, and then I have I think I have Color Flash black from Folk Art. Or at least I used to if I haven't used it already. Alright, called that good. Get all these sticks out of the way, turn that upside down. Just use the same one again. If any blue or yellow gets transferred, it won't be enough to make a difference. Alright, and the final lid. So there we go. We've mixed up 3 colors here today of the, where those other balls go? Here we go. Of this Urban Artist Soho acrylic. Let's see if I can put these in the order that you guys see them in. So let me know what you thought about this paint mixing video. If there's other types of paint you want me to try to mix for you on a video, or if you've used this paint, how did it turn out in the pieces? Here, sorry. Let's see if I can get everything in frame here for you. So let me know all of that information in the comments below. I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and Jim makes you happy.